Pedro Martinez has cast a spell over baseball his entire career. His relationship with the Yankees has been somewhat more volatile than against most. Tonight, Martinez has to be at his best as he tries to avoid the embarrassment of a Red Sox sweep in the Bronx. The backstory on this matchup at times has been ugly, but the Yankees have attacked him with zim and vigor, coming out on top more than others have. But in the biggest game of his career, he left the stadium mound without a win. Tonight, the Yankees hope that a child shall beat him. Yankees Red Sox next on Yes. Red Sox looking a little forlorn today. They've had two rough nights here in Yankee Stadium, thanks to that guy on the right, Gary Sheffield. He's had a great series. In fact, he's had a great month. And the reason the Red Sox need this victory is because Gary Sheffield has hurt them in 2 straight games. Tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. The defending American League champion New York Yankees take on the Boston Red Sox in the final game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Jim Cott and Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. Yankees beat the Red Sox 11-3 in the first game. Yesterday was a thrilling game. They outlasted the Red Sox 4-2, coming back for the 30th time this year to grab a victory. But the scintillating part of the game was an 8th inning at bat with Gary Sheffield at the plate.
Tell you what, Michael, these are the kind of battles in baseball that you'll pay all kinds of money to see. We saw it last night in the 8th inning, as you were talking about. Mike Timlin on the mound for the Red Sox. Gary Sheffield up with the game on the line. This is a 10-pitch sequence between Timlin and Gary Sheffield. They're trying anything they can to get Sheffield to swing at something to get him out. Mirabelli standing straight up a lot of times. Pitch after pitch. Look at Mirabelli there. They tried to throw it over his head. Finally, Sheffield came up with the base hit that proved to be the game winner last night as Sheffield came up big for the Yankees again.
What a month of June for Gary Sheffield. 360, 8 home runs, 25 runs batted in. He has 11 game-winning RBIs this season, tied for most in the American League, and he's had a great last 5 games. Not bad for a guy with a bad shoulder. Now, there's a big pitching matchup today. It's a veteran against a kid, and the veteran really has to win for the Red Sox because the Red Sox don't want to come into Yankee Stadium and get swept. So let's take a look at the pitching matchup, and it's brought to you today by Infinity, makers of the full-size QX56.
Pedro Martinez with a record of 8-3. You might think there's more pressure on young Brad Halsey, but I really believe there's more pressure on Pedro Martinez to win this game for the Red Sox. Brad Halsey in his 3rd start, all of them on a big stage.
Now, when we come back, we are going to break down the defense and what it's meant in this series. Some of the faces of Pedro Martinez. He's had a very odd couple of days in Yankee Stadium. Mugging for the cameras, mugging for the fans, and all the while, the Red Sox have been losing. Great way to start the night. You head to the Stadium Club, maybe get a little steak, and then boom, you enjoy Game 3 of the Yankees against the Red Sox. Game 2, though, you can tell the difference in defense and how that contributes to a win and a loss.
It's really been a difference in the first 2 games of this series. The Yankees in the infield have made some great plays. Tony Clark here with a couple of good ones. David Ortiz misses that. That allowed the Yankees to tie the game. Alex on a tough hop starts a double play ball, bailed John Lieber out of trouble. On the other hand, Mark Bellhorn can't get his glove down on Sheffield's ball. Nomar with an errant throw allowed Lofton to get the second. Now Jeter in the hole makes an accurate throw. So the Yankees' infield defense has been much superior to the Red Sox the first 2 games.
And the Red Sox defense the last 2 months has not been good. In fact, they've allowed 60 unearned runs. That's the most in the majors. All of last year, they allowed 80 unearned runs, and they've made 67 errors. That's the 2nd most in the major leagues. Well, let's see how defense affects this game. It'll be Pedro Martinez against Brad Halsey. First pitch when we get back right here at the stadium. Well, we are ready for baseball on a hot, muggy night in New York City. The Yankees are looking for the sweep, and Brad Halsey is on the mound. Here's the Red Sox starting lineup presented by Rico. Johnny Damon will lead off. He'll play center. Mark Bellhorn, the second baseman, bats second. The DH is David Ortiz. Manny Ramirez cleans up and plays left. The number 5 hitter is the catcher, Jason Varitek. Kevin Millar's in right field, batting 6th. Batting 7th and playing first base, David McCarty. Kevin Youkilis, the third baseman, will hit 8th. Batting 9th and playing shortstop, Okie Reese. And Brad Halsey will deal to Johnny Damon. And the first pitch is a strike as called by home plate umpire Jim Wolf.
3rd start of the year, high earned run average, does have a win and a loss, more than a hit per inning. We'll check out the pitcher scouting report in a minute. It's brought to you by Jeep. And the first two pitches have a little something to do with the scouting report. First, he has nothing to lose. I think all the pressure's on Pedro. The key for Brad is to throw the ball downhill, not uphill. Last start, he tended to push the ball, and everything stayed up and low and away. The first strike to Johnny Damon was low and away. That's going to be his key to success, is to be able to hit that outside corner.
Lofton, or should I say Damon, lofts one to left field. And Derek Jeter with the play for the first out of the inning. Well, New York Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota with 17 models, which is perfect for you. Armando Talavera on the left and Beto Villa on the right. Another sellout crowd making its way into Yankee Stadium. And that'll be 3 in a row, really 6 in a row. We count the Mets series as well. One of the games was not a sellout because the rainout was made out. So let's say 4 in a row.
Talking about how spoiled we get following this team, I think I was trying to count back. I think it's about 18 straight games that I've done that every game's been a sellout, or close to it, close to capacity.
It's amazing.
They're not only selling out at home, but also on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they are drawing record crowds for other ball clubs. Out of all the years that I've been here, I don't know that I have ever
Popped up, shallow right, Tony Clark. 2 away.
Witnessed a rookie pitcher who has made his first 3 starts against the 3 biggest rivals in New York Yankees history. I'm talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers at his debut, the New York Mets, and now here tonight versus Pedro Martinez and the Boston Red Sox. I don't know. Can you think of anybody?
I can't. He's got the right personality for. I mean, my first start here was back in April of '60. I think there were 3,400 people in the stands. Not much pressure there.
Here's David Ortiz right in the middle of it yesterday. Couldn't grab a Tony Clark ground ball. 2 runs scored in the 7th inning to tie the game at 2. And the pitch is low and inside. Now, no rookie pitcher has beaten Pedro Martinez since Ramon Ortiz of the Angels did it in August of 2000. Since that time, rookie pitchers are 0-9 with a 6.21 against him. One thing the Yankees have always done in beating Pedro, or at least battling him, is they always get good starting pitching against him, and that's the way to do it. You want to get into the bullpen because he does not have the stamina to go 9. Ortiz did not like that call. So 13 starts since Ramon Ortiz pulled off the feet. Brad Halsey's trying to do it right here, trying to work a 1-2-3 first.
When you got big clubbing hitters like the Boston Red Sox could send up against you, the good off-speed pitch is probably a better equalizer than trying to throw the fastball by them. That's what Halsey had.
Well, you can tell by the foul balls. Johnny Damon fouled out down the left field line. Bellhorn down the right. Ortiz late with that. No matter how much video you look at, you see the pitcher's motion, and obviously right now the ball is getting on the hitters a little quicker than they think, because he's not overpowering.
That one is lined into left center field. That is going to be a base hit. It splits the outfielders, and it will roll to the wall. So David Ortiz, who always hits well against the Yankees, picks up a 2-out double.
Well, he's in the right spot. I mean, he's batting 3rd in his lineup. That's what they expect him to do. He leads the American League in home runs with 21, but Ortiz shows you why he's so important offensively, because he has power and he also can drive the ball into the gaps in the outfield. He's not just a dead pull hitter from the left side.
30th double of the year for Ortiz. He's having some season. Here's Manny Ramirez. The Yankees have held him down over the first 2. He's 0 for 8. Now, if you're the Yankees, you get nervous about that because this is one of the better hitters in the game.
There's no really set way to get Manny Ramirez out. I mean, you just got to make your good pitches and hope that he hits the ball at somebody. He just stays in the strike zone so long, longer than just about any hitter that I know. I'm talking about the bat stays in there, and he doesn't pull off many pitches. Sure, he could pull the inside pitch, but he can inside out that inside pitch to the opposite field.
There's the SI cover of this week, and the headline is Hitting Pretty, and that fan says is 0 for 8, hitting pretty. Be careful who you taunt. He's 4th in the American League in batting. Pudge Rodriguez, what a season he's having for the Tigers. 381, and he leads the American League.
He'll be here on Monday.
The 0-2. We mentioned Manny 0 for 8 against the Yankees in the previous series against Philadelphia, and the Red Sox took 2 of 3 in that series. He was 7 for 11 with 9 runs batted in. And the 1-2. Off the deep to left field. Matsui is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Ramirez is 0 for 9 in this series, and Brad Halsey works out of a mini jam. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. It's time for Pedro to take the mound at Yankee Stadium. Red Sox nothing, and the Yankees coming to bat. Well, the Red Sox are taking the field, and the mighty Pedro is taking his warm-ups. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. And it's presented, as always, by our good friends at Rico. Kenny Lofton, the center fielder, is going to lead off for the Yankees. Batting second and playing shortstop, Derek Jeter. The number 3 hitter and the right fielder for the Yankees is Gary Sheffield. Alex Rodriguez at third base will clean up. The number 5 hitter is the left fielder Hideki Matsui. Bernie Williams, the DH, will bat 6th. Batting 7th and catching, Jorge Posada. Tony Clark at first base will hit 8th. Batting 9th and playing second base, Enrique Wilson. Wilson against Martinez, who happens to be a good friend of his. 10 for 22 lifetime.
And Pedro makes his 17th start. Of the 16, he's been pretty solid in 11 of them. Less than a hit per inning. The earned run average, not Pedro-like. It's a little high. Not quite a strikeout an inning. He's given up 12 home runs. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report. It's brought to you by Jeep. I think it's a real gut check for Pedro and the Red Sox. No matter how great a pitcher he's been, this is a game that to turn this team around, he needs to give them a good one. He's a scout's dream because you can sit behind home plate and watch the way he pitches hitters, and that'll tell you how to tell your team to pitch it. And I think even though you hear all the rumors about he doesn't throw 96 or 97 anymore, he is more of a pitcher now than he was several years ago.
Kenny Lofton leads off, and the pitch is low. Lofton has success against Pedro. 13 for 38, that's 342. And he's only struck out 5 times. You see what Lofton's done this year. Line drive and foul.
You know, we talked about his antics on the days he's not pitching, and he can be a bit of a distraction. I think if you talk to each player individually on the Boston team, they don't appreciate some of the things he does, but they appreciate every 5th day what he can do as a pitcher.
That one is lofted to center field. Damon is there, and it's 1 away.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the Boston defensively. Romero's in left field. We saw Johnny Damon make that out. Millar gets the start in right field. Trot Nixon still bothered by a quad muscle. McCarty at first base. Bellhorn at second base. Reese, Cookie Reese, Gold Glover at shortstop. Youkilis. The young third baseman, Jason Varitek, now gets the start behind home plate.
Derek Jeter will now dig in against Pedro. Lifetime, Pedro's 10-8 with a 2.76 against the Yankees. Swing and a miss, and Kitty mentioned about possibly being a distraction. Well, before yesterday's game, following the sloppy 11-3 loss, Jason Varitek called the players-only meeting. The only problem was that Pedro Martinez wasn't there, because getting to the ballpark before 5 o'clock is really not on his agenda. And that rubbed some people the wrong way. Terry Francona said, well, I knew where he was. He told me what he was doing. As long as I know where he is, I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where as great a pitcher as he is, as long as he shows up every 5th day with his game face on, they'll learn to tolerate that. pretty tough to come in and change it right now with some of the things that they've gotten away with in terms of their behavior.
I don't think you do change it. You're right, Kitty. I think that the individualistic approach that has been going on.
Cut something off and Jeter strikes out.
You know, for quite some time, you know, in that clubhouse, you just don't change it overnight.
Listen to the hand for Gary Sheffield when he's announced by Bob Shepard.
Sheffield.
Not as loud as I thought it was going to be after such a great at-bat. Very warm applause, but certainly nothing raucous.
Now, we talked about Pedro being a scout's dream. I have a feeling tonight Sheffield will see a few pitches down and away that he didn't see last night.
Now, we talked about Gary's left shoulder bothering him, and he said before the game yesterday that the one pitch that it hurts him the most on is down and away when he swings and misses at it. Down and away.
And Timlin never got one there. I think they were a little fearful because there was a man on third, and he didn't want to bounce it in the dirt.
When I spoke to Sheffield before today's ball game, I asked him about that. I said, you would have swung at anything, wouldn't you? And he said, yes, I would have. He said, if they'd have thrown something down the dirt or down and away or down where I couldn't get my bat on, he said, I would have swung at it. But he said, you know what? I think they were afraid they would throw it away and the run would score from third base.
Gary has good numbers against Pedro. 8 for 24 with 2 home runs. Although it's hard to really use those numbers as any gauge because that was when Pedro, for the most part, was in the National League with the Expos. A long time ago. Louis Soho.
Look where he's playing, too. I mean, look where.
Is that the merengue?
Look where he's at. He's in the outfield. Check this out. See where Soho is standing? Way out of the third base coaching box. And Sheffield still almost got him.
It's going to be real interesting here. Pedro is not particularly pleased with Sheffield calling time in the middle of his windup. Now he's going to wait him out.
2-2.
Yeah.
And that was on purpose.
That's exactly what that was about.
Pedro's messing with the wrong guy. There's one guy that you will not intimidate on this Yankee ball club, and that is Gary Sheffield.
Yeah, it was 2 pitches in that sequence that Pedro was in the middle of his windup, but Gary stepped out. Now you can see the inside target. But Pedro doesn't miss the target by that much unless he wants to.
And that's what really unnerved or upset Pedro. I believe that both benches have been worn. Pitch to A-Rod is high. Both benches being worn takes a little of the pressure off the youngster Brad Halsey.
Yeah, he's not going to knock anybody down anyway. Jim Wolf knows the history of these two teams, and they're trying to keep things cool right from the start.
You could almost read Gary's lips saying, not me. You're not going to intimidate me. Don't throw at me.
Right.
There's a guy he has thrown at before and has threatened to throw at, Jorge Posada. They have a little bit of an ugly history. Breaking ball strike.
Mentioned that Pedro's more of a pitcher now. What he's able to do, Greg Maddux also does the same thing. And the guys that last for a while, see how he's twirling that ball in his hand? He puts a lot of emphasis on finger pressure and how you grip the ball. That's why he's able to make it curve, make it sink. You can look at all the video and go through your mechanics and try to develop a motion that'll help you throw as hard as you can. But the only thing holding on to that baseball is your hand. And the only thing that affects it is your fingertips and the grip pressure that you have on it.
And he strikes out A-Rod for the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, a very eventful hit by pitch, no errors, and one man left. We go to the second. The bout has started. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees, by LoJack, the only stolen vehicle recovery system that works with police, and by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. Dodge. While we go to the second inning, Yankees and the Red Sox are scoreless. Jason Varitek will lead off, and he takes a pitch inside 1-0. Between innings, Joe Torre had a long talk with the crew chief, Tim McClellan. Not animated, very measured discussion.
They've both seen this before when these two teams get together. Pedro either hitting somebody or knocking somebody off the plate. Actually, it works to the Yankees' advantage. Brad Halsey's not the kind of guy that's going to intimidate hitters and knock hitters down, and actually it takes a pitch away from Pedro. He has to be very careful about throwing the ball inside now. Because even if he tried to pitch somebody inside and didn't mean to hit him, if it came in there, they're going to run him out of the game.
That's one of the advantages that the hitters have right now. I mean, they can crowd that plate.
Struck him out.
Best pitch in baseball, a good high fastball, especially when the hitter's got two strikes, because you're always in a defensive mode looking for, that bat isn't quite as fast when you have two strikes as when it's 2-0 and you get that fastball by him, even if you're not a power pitcher.
Millar with a ground ball is short. Jeter to Clark. Nice stretch, two-way.
One thing worth mentioning early on here is you notice in the Red Sox lineup, Garcia Parra's not there. And he just said he couldn't play today, wasn't feel well. I mean, Terry Francona gave him an opportunity to play. And once again, I think from a teammate's standpoint, in a game like this, unless you got broken bones, boy, you got to take the field and try to help your ball club. I don't think that's a very popular move with his teammates tonight. Nomar sitting on the bench. We know he's coming back from an Achilles injury, but in a game like this where the Red Sox really need to get things turned around, they want him in there.
Talking to a couple of Boston writers today, and they say that there's a distinct possibility that they just might trade Nomar Garciaparra because the organization is probably not going to be able to sign him. At first they wanted to, and he resisted, and now it seems like they don't even want to, and he's still going to resist anyway, even if they change their mind. So they kind of figure maybe get something for him right now rather than draft picks.
Well, Nomar, he just doesn't seem to be happy. I mean, you talk to him, you don't see a smile on his face, and they were going to trade him when they got A-Rod. That deal fell through, and that kind of really it takes a little bit away from a player knowing that you've been such an integral part of an organization, and all of a sudden you are talked about at a trade.
He's one of many free agents.
Yeah.
One of many free agents that had to deal with, Bobby.
Talking to some of the Boston Red Sox people, they said they're going to wait till the end of the season before they sign any of these guys.
Pitch is high, so McCarty walks. It's funny because there were two guys that were involved in the near trade of Alex Rodriguez to the Red Sox. Obviously, Garciaparra would have been affected. He would have gone to the White Sox for Maglio Ordonez, and Manny Ramirez would have gone to the Texas Rangers. And people in Boston feel that Nomar is brooding over that, while Manny is kind of oblivious and just goes out and plays. Hasn't affected him at all.
I think that's more or less that's Manny's makeup. Not a whole lot affects him. All he wants to do is grab a bat and go up and hit and drive in some runs.
Here's Kevin Youkilis. Pitch is high.
One of their draft picks of a couple of years ago called up from Pawtucket mid-May. Kevin out of Cincinnati, Ohio. They've produced a lot of good baseball players. Nothing sensational about him, but he's been a solid player on his climb up the ladder in the Red Sox organization.
Runner goes, and the pitch is a strike. The throw to second is not in time.
Wow, a stolen base for the Red Sox. Stop the presses. McCarty in the lineup, a little something to get that team kick started. They don't do this very often. McCarty got a good jump. Guy's 6'5", about 230. Got down there quickly. From his knees, Posada makes a strong throw, but base clearly stolen off Brad Halsey.
And that's the team's 30th stolen base of the year.
Yeah, first for McCarty.
Last stolen base was about 6 years ago for McCarty. 1-1. Youkilis is one of the top prospects for the Red Sox, and it's been reported that Youkilis and their catching prospect Kelly Shopik was offered to the Royals for Carlos Beltran, and the Royals decided to take the three-way package with the Astros and the A's.
Youkilis, the scouting report on him in the minors kind of fits into the system that the Red Sox have, at least under Epstein and crew, is the fact that he had, as a young player, he had great plate discipline, which you don't normally see from young players. They don't have that discipline. They're up there seeing the ball and swinging, giving themselves a whole lot of good chances to hit.
Well, in the book Moneyball, Youkilis was discussed a lot, very desired by a lot of teams, especially the Oakland A's, and they joke that Youkilis is Greek for walks. They say Youkilis is the Greek god of walks. "32 games with the Red Sox. He's walked 16 times. Runner at second base, 2 outs. We're in the top of the second inning. Red Sox and the Yankees scoreless here in front of a sellout crowd at the stadium. Breaking ball, and Youkilis walks. Facially, he does not look as if he gets stressed out. Looks nonplussed on the mound. He pitched very well. National television audience, Yankees against the Dodgers in LA. Did not pitch well. Same situation against the Mets here at Yankee Stadium. There's Pokey Reese, and there's a strike.
Halsey's come along very fast, and he's been successful at every level that he has pitched to the Yankee minor league system. Not a lot of people knew a whole lot about him, and all of a sudden he showed up in LA and did a heck of a job. And he can change speeds. He throws strikes.
Yeah, I don't know what nationality Halsey is, but if Youkilis is Greek for walks, Halsey is for strikes.
First time that these players, the Red Sox, have faced Halsey, so a real good look at the way Halsey could pitch will be the second time around for the Red Sox after they've seen him one time.
Check swing in the dirt, and the count 1-2. Well, Johnny Damon is on deck, and that will be the second time that Damon gets a look at Brad Halsey.
You're seeing what he goes through right now. Not just Halsey, but any pitcher. It's not a power pitcher. It's so much of an advantage to get a hitter out on one of the first 3 pitches, because the deeper you go in the count, he doesn't really have that power put-away pitch like a Pedro or a Messina or Kevin Brown or Vasquez.
Popped him up. He's going to get out of trouble. Jeter is there, and he puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the second. No score. Well, football fans, starting this fall, the Giants, yes, the Giants, the New York Football Giants are coming to Yes as New York's most storied football franchise teams up with New York's most watched Regional Sports Network. Amani Toomer right there at the ballpark watching this game. He'll be on Yes Plenty. Turn to Yes for expanded coverage of the 6-time NFL champion Giants with the Giants training camp report, Giants Online, and more. Starting this fall only on Yes. A new quarterback, Eli Manning. You've got Kurt Warner as well. And Amani Toomer, the Giants wide receiver, has done many great things for them, and he's poised to have a very good year, especially with a quarterback like Kurt Warner and then Eli Manning when he eventually steps in. Third on the Giants all-time list with 355 receptions. It should be a fun fall and winter on Yes as we highlight the New York Giants. Bottom of the second inning, Yankees and the Red Sox are scoreless. Matsui leads off, and the count is now 2-1.
If you like following the art of pitching, and it is an art, not a science, what's fun about watching Pedro, not for a hitter, is that when he gets the ball back, I mean, it's like he throws that pitch and he already has in mind what he's going to throw the next pitch. You know, he'll throw it. Okay, Matsui fouled it off, and right away he got the ball back. He said, okay, I didn't get him out with that one. This is where I'm going next.
You talk to scouts, and it's so silly to throw this word around for an athlete in terms of, you know, what a genius really means in terms of solving the world's problems. But they say he's a genius on the mound the way he does things.
I don't know if I'd use genius in terms of anything a baseball player does. I mean, there's a lot more important things in life that you can call a guy a genius, but he's an artist. And there's an example of a 3-2 changeup. You know, they say, oh, Pedro doesn't throw 98 anymore. No, but look at that, a 3-2 changeup, Bobby, in a perfect spot.
Yeah.
Last thing a hitter's looking for.
Yeah, and a changeup that almost reacts like a screwball because it's going down and away from the left-handed hitter. But the arm speed is what sets it up. I mean, there's not too many guys who can throw 3-2 changeups like that on the outside block.
Here's Bernie Williams. You know, you read the Boston papers today, the Herald and the Globe, and they have tough sports sections, and they said that Pedro Martinez, the general perception, Pedro Martinez making $17.5 million this year, which is more than any pitcher has ever made in the history of baseball for one single season. And Bernie Williams hits a fly ball, a shallow right center. Millar makes the play two-way, and they said somebody who makes that kind of money should win this kind of game.
Yeah, I can understand him saying that.
Yeah.
That's why, as dysfunctional as this team has been, if they're able to say they were able to trade Nomar for who knows, they get a top line pitcher, a Randy Johnson. Can you imagine in a short series with Pedro Schilling and another big time pitcher, even though they'll scuffle to get in the playoffs, how dangerous they could be in a short series?
Yankees don't get Schilling in this series. Maybe they'll see him when the Yankees hit Boston later on in the month. Here's Jorge Posada. No love lost between these two. In fact, in 49 at-bats in the regular season against Pedro Martinez, Jorge Posada has struck out 29 times. And in that big dust-up in the playoffs in Boston, who can forget Pedro standing on the mound, pointing to his head, screaming at Posada as if to say, you're going to get one in the year. It all started after they threw at Kareem Garcia, and then the two of them started going at each other verbally. Posada said, bring it on. Pedro later said, I didn't say I was throwing at his head. I was saying, think about what you're saying. 2-1.
Anytime a pitcher, after he's hit somebody in the head, and he points to the dugout and points to his own head, you know, what are you going to take? I mean, Pedro, if he did that to me, I'd be thinking the same thing as Jorge Posada. You don't forget those things either.
And Jorge took great satisfaction getting that big hit in Game 7. That tied up the game. Count now full at 3-2. Posada walks. The general feeling amongst the Boston media, the way Pedro acted before the first game, coming on the field during batting practice, greeting the Yankees like long-lost friends, and then mugging to the crowd. And there's Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe on the phone. They feel that Pedro is positioning himself to make the Yankees an option if he does become a free agent. Wants to be loved here. Tony Clark grounds one softly foul.
Well, that was not a way to do it. If that was because that did not think the Yankees got together after that. Said if he ever came down like that again, I mean, they caught him off guard, but you don't want to be caught shaking hands with a guy that you're going to do, you know, you're going to go battle against in 2 days. That was bad form. Best way to impress on him if he wants to be a Yankee is keep pitching well.
I think one of the reasons the Red Sox have not signed him yet, of course, he had told the Red Sox that he was going to give them every opportunity to sign him, and all of a sudden he got mad at something that happened earlier in the season and said, no, that's not true anymore. Forget it. I'm going to become a free agent and see what's out there. One of the reasons I think that they haven't signed him is that, you know, he's had those shoulder problems.
That one is hit deep to right center field. That could go. See ya! A long home run into the right center field bleachers for Tony Clark. And the Yankees jump out to a 2-0 lead. Tony Clark has done some job filling in for Jason Giambi. That is the 13th home run that Pedro has allowed this year. And is that significant? Well, first it gets a curtain call from Tony Clark. He allowed 7 all of last year and 13 in all of 2002.
Is that Tony's first curtain call? We've had a lot of firsts this year. I don't think Derek Jeter had a lot of curtain calls during the regular season until he broke his slump.
Anytime you do something good against Pedro, they're going to call you back out and give you a big hand.
Well, pitch-wise, Tony, with the back problems he's had, has a slower bat. Pedro threw him it looked like a changeup, and if it was, that feeds right into Tony Clark's bat speed.
Grounded to first. McCarty will beat Wilson to the bag, and that will do it. But not before the Yankees scored 2 runs on their first hit of the game. And what a hit it was. Tony Clark is 6th home run of the year. He gets a curtain call, and the Yankees get a 2-0 lead as we head to the 3rd. Johnny Damon leads off, takes a first pitch strike from Brad Halsey. Yankees lead 2-0 on Tony Clark's 2-run home run off Pedro Martinez. Damon popped up to shallow left. Derek Jeter made the catch in the first inning.
Great game, isn't this baseball? I mean, you try to figure it out. You got all kinds of statistical trends, and here's a case where if Jason Giambi were not sick, Tony Clark wouldn't even be in the lineup. And he's hurt the Red Sox with his glove and his bat.
Deep to right field, but foul.
That's why the book Moneyball got a lot of publicity about, you know, how stats rule baseball. And talking with a friend of mine, scout for the Twins, who's here, Larry Corrigan, he said a friend of him they were talking about Moneyball. He said, "Did you read Moneyball?" And the guy said, "No, because they left out 2 chapters." They left out really how to win and how to get to the big dance and how to win the final, you know, how to win the ring. And Moneyball hadn't figured out a way how to do that yet.
Talk about that second time around. What's important for a hitter who has never seen a pitcher before is just to kind of, you know, get a gauge on the velocity and the movement of the pitches, and then the second time around you feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, that's why as a starter, Bobby, a starting pitcher, you wish you had 3 pitches or maybe 4 if you're not overpowering. And like you said, against good hitting lineup like the Red Sox, you might get them out the first go around with a fastball, but now you have to mix something else in.
Got him. 1 away. Second strikeout for Halsey.
Obviously, the fastball is deceptive, even though it's not overpowering. Because when you see hitters, and we've seen a lot of hitters swing through it, and we've seen them swing late on it. It must be what hitters would call sneaky fast, which means the fastball's getting on them a little quicker than it might appear coming out of his hand.
Bellhorn swings and foul tips the ball.
Damon doesn't strike out that much. Probably would be a better leadoff hitter if he wasn't such a great contact hitter. Usually when he swings, he makes contact.
Well, if you look at that shot from center field and you see Halsey, he's not like the modern ball players with those tight form-fitting pants. He looks like Whitey Ford out there.
Yeah, it looks like Whitey Ford pitching the Lake Success Legion Championship about age 17.
1-2. You see the pants all blousy around the hips, and usually that's not how they wear it anymore.
Talking about when he joined the Yankees out in Los Angeles, he didn't bring a whole lot of clothes with him from Columbus, and he's having to make do with just a couple of changes.
There's a ground ball to short, and they get Bellhorn 2 away.
One thing I like about David Ortiz, not only because he's a good contact hitter, but the way he approaches home plate. He walks up there like he owns that area, like that's his area and nobody else's.
We spoke yesterday about how Ortiz was signed to a contract extension, which was a very fair contract extension in terms of market value. 5.5 next year, 6.5, and then 7.5 if options vest, and it's a club option. Talk to somebody with the Red Sox. Why would he take that kind of money? They said because he feels that he can't put the same sort of numbers up anywhere else but Fenway Park, because he's such a good hitter at going the other way and using the wall. He said, let's say he played here at Yankee Stadium, he wouldn't be the same sort of hitter. And he also thinks that 5.5 and 6.5 is a lot of money.
It is. I know when he played with Minnesota, you know, they got the big baggy in right field, and you know, he used to hit a lot of line drives that would be out of any ballpark because of the lower stands, and a lot of that line drives that he hit at the dome up there, they were actually just doubles and long singles and not home runs.
340 hitter at Fenway, a 270 hitter on the road this year.
I think you can say that about any of these Red Sox hitters. They hit much higher at Fenway.
See what he's done the last 4 seasons. Last year was his breakout season with the Sox.
Doesn't hurt to hit in front of Manny Ramirez either.
That one is drilled to right field, backing up with Sheffield. And he puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. So 55,000 people have not unnerved the kid. We go to the bottom of the third, 2-0 Yanks. As part of Samsung's 4 Seasons of Hope, Samsung and Circuit City have teamed up to help end the cycle of domestic violence and save lives. Every home run a Yankees player hits at Yankee Stadium, Circuit City is going to donate $1,000 to the Joe Torre Safe and Home Foundation. For more information, log on to fourseasonsofhope.com. $1,000 on that Tony Clark home run. Priceless for the Yankees, though, as they take a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the third. The 1-0. There's a strike.
See Kevin Youkilis at third. There's the leaders of the Safe at Home Foundation home runs. Becky at the top. The Youkilis, I mean, he's way in on the grass. Should Lofton try to bunt, but Kenny can slap it by him that way. A lot more soft stuff and a lot more trying to use the outside corner than we usually see from Pedro.
And he does try to bunt, but it's foul.
It's unusual to try to bunt with a 3-1 pitch.
Yeah, it is.
Especially a guy that can hit the ball in the ballpark or drive the ball in the gaps. Youkilis, as Kenny was talking about, was still playing way in at third. Don't see many guys that can hit like Kenny Lofton try to bunt on 3-1.
And the 3-2. Walked him. A walk got Pedro in trouble in the second inning. With 2 outs, he walked Posada, and then Clark hit the home run.
You know, Pedro's motioning into the to either Varitek or the home plate umpire. I don't know if he misread the count, whether he thought it was 2-2. Because he looked like he was shocked when he threw that pitch that Lofton started going to first base.
Pedro locks in now for Jeter. Jeter struck out in the first. Jeter is sorry to see June go away. In March and April, he hit 168 with 1 home run. In May, he hit 261 with 3 home runs. In June, 396 with 9 home runs. Now he's at 271 overall after striking out in the first.
Yeah, a lot of speculation on Derek Jeter when he got off to that slow start. He kept saying that, yeah, I may be off on a slow start here early, but you know, you could hit 400 or 500 in 1 month too. You can bring that average back up. I think Joe DiMaggio, when he hit in 56 games, I think he got started real slow too. I think he only hit about 180 in the first month.
Fouled off the mask of Varitek. Lofton leads off first. Line drive right at Bellhorn, and they get Lofton for the double play.
Well, the ball was hit so hard that Lofton only came off about 2 or 3 steps after that big lead, and no chance to get back.
Here's Gary Sheffield, who was hit by a pitch by Martinez in the first, and they had some, well, Gary had some words for Pedro as he walked toward first base, shadowed by Jason Varitek.
Might see an extra hard swing here. Not that Gary doesn't swing hard all the time. Ooh, yeah, that's the one that really hurts his shoulder when he misses. But that was a grudge swing. No question. He had Monument Park and beyond in his sights with that swing.
Well, the direction was right, the distance not quite right, as Manny Ramirez puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left on base. We played 3 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Yankees 2, Red Sox nothing. You are watching Yes. Top of the fourth inning, time for the Aflac trivia question. The Duck will bring in the question.
Aflac.
And the question is, who was the last Red Sox player to win a Gold Glove award? We will find out in the bottom of the fourth inning. Pitch to Manny is inside.
Tony Pena?
Could be.
Current manager of the Kansas City Royals. I think Tony won one when he was with the Red Sox as a catcher. I don't know if anyone since then has done it.
Adjusting to the pitcher is one thing that a hitter tries to do, obviously, and Halsey did a nice job with Ramirez in the last at bat. Man on at second base, an RBI machine up there. 2-2 count. He took something off of it.
Manny's the kind of hitter, the word around the league, and you talk to scouts, with 2 strikes, he's such a good breaking ball hitter. You have to throw it either exceptionally slow or give him your best fastball upstairs. Anything in between, that slider type speed, he really capitalizes on.
2-1. Grounded sharply and through for a base hit. That's his first base hit of the series. He's now 1 for 10. Leadoff single here in the fourth.
So what's the guy with the sign going to do now? See where Posada's target was. He wanted it down and away. It wasn't quite low enough, and it wasn't quite far enough away to take it off the barrel.
Guy in the sign is putting up 0 for 10, and he's wrong.
Yeah, he's got to. Well, he's going to put one. Yeah, he's going to put one. He'll get to it.
Not easy riding upside down.
He's going for it. Yep. Pitch to Varitek is outside.
See, it was just a soft single, so he gave him just a very light one.
Yeah.
Ooh. I say ooh because of course the Red Sox don't run much, but Tim McClellan, the crew chief over there, that looked like it was a borderline balk. Halsey, you have to step toward first base and throw there. He looked like he went quite a distance toward home. Nice if you can get by with it. And obviously it's deceptive because he's had Manny going back to first base, which you don't have to pick guys off, but in this situation, if you keep them close, you get a ground ball, makes the double play easier to turn.
If you're taking a lead at first base and you have to lean back to first base with the pitcher delivering the ball towards home plate, you've got too big of a lead. If that's the case where you've got to be leaning back, I mean, if you're going to be leaning back all the time, you defeat the purpose over there. Just take a half a step less.
Halsey has allowed 2 hits. He leads 2-0. Varitek struck out in the second and didn't count 1 and 2. Popped up behind the plate. Posada gives it a run, but he runs out of room. Almost got Chuck Knobloch.
Ran right at his former teammate Chuck Knobloch, sitting in the stands right behind home plate.
Chuck has good seats.
Still lives in New York, I think. He has an apartment here in the city.
Boy, he really retired early. He looked like he was having a Hall of Fame career, and then he developed those throwing problems and had a season with Kansas City and decided to hang it up. Varitek goes down on strikes. He struck out twice now against Halsey, and he is 0 for his last 11. Varitek is 1 away.
Talking with Mel Stottlemyre about Halsey's arsenal. And he said this is what he has the ability to do with his fastball. He said, you know, a lot of left-handers, that fastball would move just back across the plate where a hitter would get a look at it. Now, it's not the sharp cutter like Mariano Rivera, but it's sort of a four-seam fastball that keeps riding in on the hands. I don't know if fans remember Charlie Liebrandt, left-hand pitcher, was not a hard thrower, but he could break a lot of bats with pitches like that.
Here's Kevin Millar, grounded to short. That was in the second. And nubbed up the first baseline. Halsey will field. And calmly flips to Clark, 2 away as Ramirez moves to second.
Good way of putting that. Halsey didn't panic. He made a sure picking the ball up. I don't know if he knew that Millar couldn't run that well. But very deliberately threw the ball to Clark plenty of time. Sometimes you rush over, you panic a little bit, maybe your foot slips.
Here's Dave McCarty, who walked and stole a base in the second inning. Some question about last night why David Ortiz was still in the game defensively in the bottom of the 7th inning after he had hit in the top of the 7th, that McCarty should have replaced him there. But Ortiz was there, and Tony Clark's ground ball went through his glove. 2-base error, or 2-run error, E3. I don't think anybody has really decided for sure if it went through the webbing or he just missed the ball. None of the replays are really decisive. That one's a deep fly ball to center field. Lofton is there in dead center, and he puts it away for the final out of the inning. So another good inning for Brad Halsey. No runs a hit, no errors. 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees lead the Red Sox 2-0. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Alex Rodriguez leads off against Pedro Martinez. Foul bat.
Alex has an interested spectator and a guy who's been a long-time guru, almost like a second father. That's Eddie Rodriguez, no relation. Eddie's from down the Miami area. For 30 years he's been running boys and girls clubs programs down there. And I'll tell you, he has produced some players. Rafael Palmeiro, Danny Tartabull. Alex came out of there, and what Eddie's been looking at is, he said Alex is not getting his hands back. Bobby, you could relate to that as a hitter. And that's why you see him get caught out in front a great deal. And it was interesting in batting practice after Alex's rounds, he actually looked up in the stands, and Eddie, I was sitting next to Eddie, and he was kind of critiquing every swing, and he said, you know, he's a second-half hitter. Once he settles down and keeps those hands back, gets a little separation, he's going to take off and have a monster year.
Alex goes down on strikes for the 2nd time this evening.
Sheffield and I were talking about just that same thing about keeping the hands back, and I was telling Sheffield we'll take another look at A-Rod striking out here.
Yeah, see, he never got any separation there, and you can see Eddie behind home plate shaking his head.
And how you load those hands up. And I said, you know, a lot of times when you bring your hands forward, you only get a half a swing, and most of the time you're even with the ball at home plate. You never get the bat head out in front. Obviously, you don't load up on it. But if you just do the opposite. In other words, what I'm saying is, if the hands are coming forward, I mean, when you're just practicing, you know, when you're taking batting practice or you're thinking about it, you hold your hands in front of you, you won't hit from there. Your hands automatically will go back. So whatever you're doing wrong, you just do the opposite, and it'll put you in the right position.
So do it more wrong.
If you're overstriding, put a lot of weight on the front foot, because if you put a lot of weight on the front foot, you're not going to hit there. You automatically shift your weight back to the back foot. Not to do that in the game, but I'm just saying, you know, when you're trying to build your muscle memory back up again, because you don't think about those things when you're up at the plate. Maybe in front of a mirror, or just during batting practice, even off of a practice tee, you can do that.
The 2-2. Matsui down on strikes. 2-away.
Zoning in on that outside corner.
5 strikeouts for Pedro Martinez.
Well, Brad Halsey can't do anything about it other than just try to continue to pitch, take the game into like the 7th inning. But I think most people on the Yankee bench would say right now, you got 2, you better try to make those stand up. As Michael pointed out earlier, the way the Yankees have done well against Pedro is they outpitch him.
Here's Bernie Williams. The guy who usually draws the Pedro Martinez card is Mike Mussina. And he has really outdueled him. And if you look at Pedro's numbers against the Yankees, he's 10-8 with a 2.76. Now, the ERA is great, but Pedro Martinez is about a 700 winning percentage pitcher. And to be 10-8 against the team, that means the Yankees have done very well against him.
I mean, Pedro gives you a chance to win just about every time he goes out there and pitches for you. That's all you ever ask of anybody to do. But, you know, the strikeout totals have been going down every year for the last 3 years for Pedro per 9 inning. I think one of the reasons, well, one of the things that the hitters don't have as much trouble doing as far as adjustment is concerned, since he doesn't have that 90-plus fastball every time now. He's got, you know, high 80s. You know, the difference between the high 80 fastball and the changeup is not as significant today as it was 3 years ago. So there's not a whole lot more adjustment that the hitter has to make, you know, as far as the speed is concerned.
Well, when he first got to the Red Sox, he could reach back and throw 98 miles an hour.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yep.
You know, you throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball on a consistent basis and a 78-mile-an-hour change or an 80-mile-an-hour change. That's a big adjustment for a hitter.
Let's take a look at the Aflac trivia answer. And the question was, who was the last Red Sox player to win a Gold Glove? Kitty guessed Tony Pena. Let's see if he was right. Tony Pena.
Wow.
1991.
Man, I just took a little guess. Maybe I ought to get some Mega Millions tickets or something, huh?
And Pedro strikes out the side. 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks. Pedro has struck out 6. Rodriguez went down on strikes. Matsui waved on strikes. Bernie Williams goes down on strikes. And we go to the top of the 5th. 2-0 Yanks. Well, thank you, Fred. Here in the top of the 5th inning, Yankees lead the Red Sox 2-0. Youkilis leads off, and he takes a strike. Well, Brad Halsey's been impressive, and you know what? He better be impressive because Pedro's been impressive as well. He's made 1 mistake, given up 1 hit, and that hit happened to be a 2-run home run into the right field bleachers to Tony Clark. Halsey's given up 2 hits, and he has walked 2.
Well, you never know. You know, this kid improved every year that he was in the minor leagues for the Yankees.
That one is driven out to right center field. Sheffield makes the call, and Sheffield makes the catch.
Not a whole lot known about him, and all of a sudden he's thrown into the big leagues, and he's shown a whole lot of points. And continues to show that poise. He's able to change speeds, and that's big, along with spotting your fastball, a little cutter that he has.
Now, is it possible in front of this crowd in this venue against the Red Sox that he could be totally not unnerved? Is it possible at his age?
Oh, I think so. I mean, everybody, I'm just speaking from a starting pitcher standpoint. For 4 days, you're building up some butterflies because you're anticipating that next start. The last thing you want to do is wait 4 or 5 days and then go out and not get through the first inning. So there's always more nerves in those early innings. But I think once you get through it, if you're Brad Halsey, you say, hey, I'm pitching against Pedro Martinez. Nobody expects me to win. Here it is. See if you can hit it. I think he uses that to his advantage.
But other youngsters can't do it.
But he certainly, well, that's the makeup by a different person. You know, everybody has their own different personalities and how they view and handle different things. But there's nothing that Brad Halsey doesn't know about the Boston Red Sox. If you're in the Yankee organization, you know about the Boston Red Sox and how important it is to play them and to beat them.
Well, so far he's done a nice job. 4 1/3 scoreless innings. Johnny Damon, he has retired twice, and Damon is on deck. Grounded sharply. Diving stop by A-Rod. Gets to his feet. Fires. Got him. Oh, what a play by Alex Rodriguez. taking an extra base hit away from Pokey Reese.
First guy to his feet was his guru, Eddie. I told Eddie before the game, as this guy's playing Gold Glove third base, and there's the difference. Last night, Gary Sheffield hit a rocket like that. Red Sox couldn't come up with it. That's a double that Alex takes away from Pokey Reese.
Here's Johnny Damon. Pitches low.
I mean, you never know, but I don't think anybody had any doubts what kind of third base that Alex Rodriguez was going to play. I mean, he knew when he came to the Yankees and that trade was made that he was going to be moved to third base, and I don't think he had any doubts in his own mind about playing third and playing well, and maybe on a Gold Glove level, which that's what he's been doing this year.
I'll tell you, I mean, I can't say I had doubts, but I never thought that he could play third base this early, this well. You know, you got the ball coming out of the stands. You don't have as much time to react. You got different footwork. There's a lot, and of course, he and Greg Nettles worked hard in the spring. But I think he's overachieved.
Count 2-2 to Damon.
I don't know. He has such great ability. I mean, he's just an exceptional athlete. When you get to athletes like that, they can adjust to almost anything.
He struck him out. A 1-2-3 inning for Brad Halsey. And Alex Rodriguez helped him out. Pokey Reese with a blistering shot down the line. Diving stop. Shows off that arm. Second out of the inning. And his mentor likes what he sees. We're halfway through. 2-0 Yanks. Jorge Posada will lead off the bottom of the fifth inning. We've got ourselves a pitcher's duel here tonight. Pedro Martinez, the veteran, against Brad Halsey, the peach-faced rookie. Posada digs in. He walked and scored in the second. Pitches outside. Two and 0.
Talked about the success Pedro's had against Posada, yet he's pitching him very carefully and lost him to a base on balls. That's how the Yankees got their 2 runs, 2-out walk.
And the count levels at 2-2.
Pedro's the epitome of the pitcher that just plays catch with the catcher. I had the privilege of playing with the great Steve Carlton, a Hall of Famer, and that's all Lefty did during the game. He was completely oblivious of the hitter. He just played catch with the catcher. And you can see how he and Varitek are doing that. He gets the ball back on the mound, knows what he wants to do next, and if the bat happens to get in the way of the ball, so be it.
Count still full.
Oh, and you got that great command like Carlton has, and also Pedro. I think that's pretty easy for them to do. I don't think Pedro thinks that there's not any place that he can't throw that ball anytime he wants to.
That one's hit deep to right field. See ya! Upper deck home run. Jorge Posada, and the Yankees lead 3-0. A monster shot by Posada. That is Posada's first home run since June 1st.
Well, if he's been saving up since June the 1st, he let it go this time. Up into the upper deck here at Yankee Stadium. Pedro challenged him on 3-2 this time with a fastball, and he made him pay it. Tenth
home run of the year for Jorge Posada. We told you his first since June 1st, only his second since April 28th.
That might be as sweet a home run trot as Jorge has ever had because of the past battles with Pedro.
Tony Clark had a sweet home run trot in the second inning, a 2-run shot that broke the scoreless tie. Now the Yankees with 2 home runs today lead 3-0. The 1-2. Strike 3 outside corner. Clark down looking. Strikeout number 7 for Pedro.
The count is everything, and when Pedro can get ahead, and I mean that is an absolutely perfect pitch, but against Posada he walked him one time and went to 3-2 the next time.
Pitch to Enrique Wilson is outside. Wilson grounded out to first. That was in the second. Now 1-1. Wilson now is in a little bit of a slump. Joe Torre has used Miguel Cairo a lot to great effect because Cairo's done a good job. Wilson is now 1 for his last 18.
Enrique's in the lineup tonight because of his numbers against Pedro. Came into the game 10 for 22 off of Martinez. Well, if he's been in a slump, I think Joe thinks maybe he can break out against Pedro.
And they are very good friends.
Not good. Be good friends with those hitters, boy. They'll take advantage of you every time.
Hard to be a good friend with a pitcher.
Yep.
That one is lofted into left field. Manny Ramirez is there, and speaking of good friends, remember Manny Ramirez couldn't play last year against the Yankees at Fenway Park, but he made it out to the hotel to see Enrique Wilson. And when asked about it, Manny said, "Enrique's my man."
Manny just likes to play baseball. That's about all he cares about, and hitting is the most important part.
Here's Kenny Lofton, and the pitch is outside.
What has always struck me to be very strange about the Red Sox clubhouse is that the superstars, you know, the Manny Ramirez's and the Pedro Martinez, the Garcia Parras, they're not spokespersons for this ball club. It's always been somebody else.
That one is blooped to left field. Reese giving chase, tumbles into the stands. Did he hold on?
I think he got it.
Yes, he did. What a play by Pokey Reese. Gets a hug from Manny Ramirez. An outstanding play by the Red Sox shortstop. Well, the Yankees get 1 run on 1 hit by Jorge Posada. Jim Cott said one of the sweetest home run trots of his career. That's why. The incident in Fenway, and now this upper deck answer. We go to the 6th, 3-0 Yanks. We go to the 6th inning. Yankees lead the Red Sox 3-0. 2 Yankee home runs accounting for both of the runs, or all 3 of the runs, and Pokey Reese ended the inning with a neat play. Now he fell in there and the umpire wasn't down there. He could have dropped the ball and put it in his glove. Didn't look like he did, but nobody was watching other than those fans. And that gets a hug from Manny. Now you, Bobby, are one of the most upstanding human beings I've ever met. But you actually took part in some espionage on a similar play, right? Against the Red Sox.
Well, against the Red Sox. I wouldn't do it against anybody else, but it was the Red Sox, you know. The old Yankee Stadium. We had the low right field fence, you know, and we had a right fielder, Ron Woods, was playing out there. I was playing center field. Yastrzemski was the hitter. He had a line drive into right field, and Woods went up. It was on an afternoon game. There wasn't anybody in the right field stands. I mean, it was totally empty.
Bellhorn down on strikes.
Well, I'll tell you what, this kid is really impressive tonight. Anyway, to finish that story, Yastrzemski gets this line drive. Woods went up, and you could see Woods in the ball in the glove, and then he disappeared in the stands. I ran over there. Ron Woods, he was knocked out colder than a cucumber. In fact, the ball was lying in the stands, and I jumped in there, of course, to see how Ron was. But in the meantime, I saw where the ball was, so I just took the ball and kind of put it next to the glove, you know, and the umpire was running out there, and he saw the ball in the glove, and he called Yastrzemski out.
So Yastrzemski actually has one more homer than is officially noted.
No, the umpire called him out. I did tell Yaz, I said, Yaz, you'd have gotten that 3,000th hit a lot sooner if that had to happen, you know. Because Yaz made a beeline out there, you know. He thought it was a home run for sure.
Ortiz fouls it back, 1-1. Tom Gordon starting the stretching exercises.
Yeah, be interesting to see if Joe tries to shorten up the game. He's got a cushion winning the first two, and the way the kid is pitching right now, you know, you wouldn't make any move. But I know he's going to be very careful about taking him out on a good note. You know, with a 3-run lead, there's no way he's going to leave him in there even long enough for the Red Sox to tie the game.
Popped up down the left field line. A long run from Matsui on the run toward the line. He can't make the play. It's a fair ball. It bounces into the seats. Another double for Ortiz, the 31st of the year for him and the second of the game.
I don't know. I think Matsui may have lost that ball maybe in this. It looked like he was just kind of running halfway at it, and then all of a sudden he had to pick up the speed because he had misjudged how far the ball was going to be carrying over towards the left field line.
Well, you know, Bobby, if you're running on your heels at all and your head's bobbing up and down, and at the distance he had to cover, he's playing Ortiz way over to pull. I mean, that was not an easy play. And as soon as that ball hit the warning track and was fair, the telephone rang in the Yankee bullpen and Mel out to the mound.
Can you believe the official scoring on that? They gave him an E7.
No.
That's Phil Pepe.
Phil, come on, you're gonna rethink that.
That's unbelievable.
Rick Sharon. Yeah, he's gonna rethink that. He thought Bobby was playing left field.
Yeah.
He said he should have gotten to it easily.
I would have accepted it.
That's a tough.
You know, not a lot of times when you see the ball go up in the air, of course, with the dusk of the night coming in here, sometimes you don't pick it up immediately, and you
that'll be after further review. I'll guarantee you.
I think they need to have us show another replay, because that's the only way Phil Pepe's going to see it again. And looks like he's waiting by the television monitor in the press box, so we'll try to run it when we can. Pitch some Ramirez is low. There it is, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, he had a long run for that ball.
Right now it stays in E7, the 1-0.
Yeah, the way you look at plays like that, I would think as an official score, is that could it have been caught, or should it have? Now that's one that could have been caught, but you can't say, hey, he should have caught that ball, and it's already been changed to a double. No surprise.
What did official scorers do before TV?
They called balls like that errors.
Oh, that was an error.
That one's hit deep to center field. Going back, Lofton on the track, at the wall. See ya! A 2-run home run for Manny Ramirez. The Red Sox are on the board. Yankees lead 3-2.
It was one of those slider speed pitches, and Manny knew as soon as he hit it. I think Jorge's going to come to the mound. I don't think he's going to face Veritek. I mean, maybe Joe will leave him in, but I think it's in that situation where Joe says, I don't want this kid to lose this game.
Posada on to maybe kill a little bit more time. Now here comes Derek Jeter in, and here comes A-Rod, and also Joe Torre.
Good move. He's done so well, and you want him to leave on a good note. And this crowd's going to give him some kind of ovation.
And his teammates are congratulating him, and that's probably most important. He did an impressive job in front of a sellout crowd. Joe will take the ball. Listen to the ovation. After young Brad Halsey gave up the 2-run home run to Manny Ramirez, Joe Torre had to make the singular call to the bullpen. Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. To this point, he has nothing to be ashamed of. He outdueled one of the greatest pitchers in baseball history, Pedro Martinez, through 5 1/3, leaves with a 3-2 lead. So he can get the win.
The Rook.
I don't think he'd do if his feet touched the ground when he was getting that ovation.
It's pretty cool.
Richly deserved.
So Paul Quantrill takes over to deal to Jason Varitek. Varitek 5 for 14 lifetime against Quantrill. He was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Halsey. Usually Quantrill's inning is the 7th. Gordon's is the 8th. Rivera's is the 9th. You see Quantrill's numbers this year.
Of course, what changes Joe's bullpen mix, and by his own admission last night, Joe said, you know, that was Heredia's game. That was his night. See how Paul is consistently leads the league in appearances.
High pop-up, shallow right. Backing up, Wilson coming in Sheffield. 2 down as Sheffield makes the play.
Now he's got, you know, he can bring, in a situation like tonight, he has enough confidence to bring Heredia in to face David Ortiz. Mel did a little work with Heredia on his motion and tweaked it a bit. And seems to be able to throw more strikes and throw better.
Pitch to Millar is low.
When Halsey came out of the game, and Mel immediately went over there and sat next to him, visited with him, and continued to, I'm sure, pump up the confidence.
That one is scooped into right, and Sheffield is there, and that'll do it. So in the 6th, the Red Sox get on the board. The only blemish against Brad Halsey. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, nobody left, and the hit, Manny Ramirez 21st home run. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees lead 3-2.
Head to the bottom of the 6th, and round 2 of the Subway Series starts tomorrow at Shea. Yes Network will have it covered tomorrow night on Yes. The Yankees take on the Mets in Game 1. Pre-game coverage will start at 6:30, and then Saturday turn to Yes after the game for complete post-game coverage of Game 2. And then finally Sunday afternoon, Yankees close out the Subway Series at Shea. Pre-game coverage starts at 12:30 right on Yes, your Subway Series station stop.
Bottom of the 6th inning, tight game now. Yankees lead 3-2. Red Sox trying to salvage the final game of the set. Derek Jeter leads off, and the pitch is inside 1-0. High-powered people at the game. Henry Kissinger on the left.
Good to have a peacemaker here when the Red Sox and Yankees get together, and Pedro's on the mound.
And one of the co-owners of the Giants, Robert Tisch, on the right. Hit sharply through the left side for a base hit. Jeter with a leadoff single. He now has an 11-game hitting streak.
Well, Jeter was almost at 400 for the month of April, hitting .398 last night. Going into that game, he was 1 for 3 last night, so he'll just start him a new streak here on the first day of July. Well, what a difference in Derek Jeter. One of the reasons is that he is holding those hands back a little bit longer now. Mom and Dad reacting, and they did a lot of that in the month of June.
And the pitch to Sheffield is low.
That was a good shot there from our low first camera to show how Derek is keeping the hands back, something that A-Rod's trying to do.
There's a strike. Three-two Yankees lead. They really play Sheffield to pull more than any other team. Bellhorn is almost behind second base, maybe a step or three to the right field side. The whole right side of the infield is open for Sheffield.
There's some hitter. Gary right now is just waiting for that left shoulder to calm down. That swing hurt. There's some hitters you say play him away, pitch him away, play him away. Gary's the kind of hitter. Rocky Colavito, the great right-hand power hitter, was like that. Even if you pitched him outside, he's going to pull the ball. These kind of hitters, I mean, Gary's one of those angry-looking hitters that he's going to attack the ball and try to pull almost everything.
Ted Williams was like that.
Keeping Jeter close. Jeter talking with Tim McClellan, maybe saying, hey, was that a balk? It was a quick move by Pedro. He reaches out and pops it up. Foul territory, third base side. Youkilis puts it away, one down. Here's A-Rod. He has struck out twice against Pedro. And Eddie has the best seat in the house to watch A-Rod swing. Eddie Rodriguez serves as a father figure for Alex, whose dad left home when Alex was very young. That one is driven deep to right field, giving chase Millar into the corner. He makes a nice play. And Jeter has to hustle back. That was some play by Kevin Millar. Two down.
Well, Trot Nixon was in the original lineup last time, but the sore quad made him the designated hitter. Millar playing there tonight, tracking it all the way in the corner. That ball from the right side, from a right-handed hitter, is always slicing away from you. So pitchers always like a good play like that, because that's going to score a run for sure.
Best swing Alex has had for a while. He did stay back and, you know, drove that ball better than he has lately.
Here's Matsui, 0 for 2 against Pedro, 2 strikeouts. Career 0 for 15 against Pedro, 6 strikeouts. It's rare that you see Matsui overmatched, but he seems overmatched against Pedro.
He's not alone. Might see Jeter try to steal second here, especially if they, you know, he's been throwing Matsui a lot of those soft breaking balls. That one was inside, on the outside corner. A little easier to steal a base with a left-hand hitter in the box. More tough, more difficult for the catcher to get in throwing position. Another thing that Pedro does so well. You see he'll make the quick move, and then he'll hold it for several seconds and That's the best way to neutralize a good base stealer, is to vary the amount of time you hold the ball in your stretch. Go quick one time, slow the next, mix it up.
Another strike and the count 1-2.
Matsui, one of the reasons maybe that he doesn't feel that comfortable against Pedro is the fact that Matsui always has had a tendency to pull off the ball just a little bit. And Pedro with that great changeup, the changeup that goes down and away from the left-handed hitter, you're pulling off of a pitch that's going away from you. That's not a very good mix.
1-2. Soft ground ball is short. Pokey Reese will go across the diamond, and he gets Matsui for the final out of the inning. So the leadoff single by Jeter is wasted. No runs to hit, one man left. Let's go to the 7th. 3-2 Yanks. Tonight after the Yankees postgame, don't miss the premiere of Yankeeography. Whitey Ford. Go inside the pinstripes and find out how the chairman of the board dominated in the postseason to become one of the greatest pitchers in Yankees history. It's an all-new Yankeeography Whitey Ford tonight after the Yankees postgame, only on Yes. I heard that's a great show on Whitey, and I actually heard that Whitey got an advance copy. He was very happy with it.
Well, Yankeeography in general is it's been great. They have produced some wonderful features.
David McCarty has worked the count 0-2. Number 16, the chairman of the board.
I learned a lot about the Yankees because of the Yankeeography. I mean, I didn't know some of the history that they were talking about and as they used in those Yankeeographies about this wonderful franchise.
Won a couple of Emmy Awards that show.
Yeah. Great.
Whitey 236 and 106. Got into the Hall of Fame on the second try. Went in with his buddy Mickey Mantle.
Chairman of the board.
I got to see that induction. 1973. We played the Hall of Fame game. Mickey and Whitey. Also in '66, see Ted Williams and Casey Stengel go in together. I remember sitting in the bullpen in Minnesota with my roommate Jim Merritt. We'd go down there on the days that Whitey started to watch him warm up, and he walked by one day and I said, Roomie, the guy makes $50,000 a year. Can you ever imagine if we could play long enough to do that? We pitch a couple years and retire. That's how long ago that was.
That one is rocketed into right center field. Lofton on the run. Can't make the play. It's off his glove. And McCarty will stop at second. We'll see how they score it. He went a long way to get that. That should be a double.
I got a feeling that's going to be a base hit. The double you were talking about.
Yeah, but it's a ball that it should have been caught by Kenny Lofton with his ability, and he knows it. He ran a little bit of a zigzag route. The ball's hit hard. You see right there. Now Kenny's, he's running over, and now he has to run back. If he gets a jump and runs right at the ball, but he ran straight across and then ran back, made it more difficult. It is obvious it would call a double, but I think if you ask Kenny Lofton, he'd say I should have caught that ball.
Pitch to Kevin Youkilis is a strike.
Of course, if a pitcher says that when he comes in, the first thing outfielder could say is, well, look, don't let him hit it that hard then.
Line drive, base hit to left field. Charging is Matsui. He bobbles the ball. McCarty was held up, though. So the Red Sox have runners on the corners and nobody out. McCarty stopped the engine and could not restart once Matsui bobbled the ball.
Well, you'll see the base hit. You'll see McCarty coming into third. Dale Swaim, the third base coach over there, tried to restart him after Matsui bobbled that ball. But once you've broken your momentum, there's nothing you can do. Swaim is seeing stop at third, and once Matsui bobbled the ball, he tried to restart him again. It was just too late.
Pokey Reese due up first and third, no outs. About the only Red Sox hitter that will bunt You know, with Pedro on the mound, if Terry Francona is saying, look, I want to at least tie the game, might put on that safety, you know, sacrifice. Heredia is getting ready to come in and face Johnny Damon.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees.
A lot of action going on around the mound because, you know, even though we've said it before, baseball is a slow-paced game. Right now, if you're an infielder, you got to be thinking quickly. The ball's hit hard. Can you get two? If it's not hit hard, McCarty's going home. A lot of different options if the ball is hit your way.
Shortstop and second baseman are back. A-Rod's about even with the bag at third. Tony Clark holds on the runner at first. And there's a hot ground ball to short. This will tie the game, but they get a double play. No RBI for Reese. McCarty scores, and it's 3-3.
Bokey hit it hard, so the Yankees playing in double play position. They'll give up the run, the tie, to get the 2 outs. The double play keeps the Red Sox from really putting a huge inning together.
And Joe Torre wants to bring in Felix Heredia to match up with the lefty swinging Johnny Damon. And we just saw a shot there of Kenny Lofton talking to himself, realizing that the game is tied because he couldn't hold on to that drive into right center field. So Brad Halsey cannot win the game. Paul Quantrill can't win the game either. Felix Heredia comes on. He'll be the pitcher of record. Should he have caught it? It's a double, and it's a tie game. We go to the bottom of the 7th, or we're still in the top of the 7th inning. And yeah, call people about this. Felix Heredia comes on to face Johnny Damon. It's a 3-3 game.
Overall numbers don't look good, but the last couple outings, of course, last night Felix was sensational. One of the things Mel Stottlemyre did with him is just a simple little thing like his position on the rubber. Before, that right foot was much more toward first base in what you'd call a closed position. Now you'll see the toe of the right foot is pointed a little bit more toward home plate. He's more in a square position. And he's been able to throw more strikes. That's one of the advantages of having video, that you can look at your pitchers and hitters.
What a performance last night by Felix Heredia. Bases loaded, nobody out, and he gets out of it without allowing a run. That was in the 7th inning, top of the 7th. He pitched the 1-2-3 ninth in Tuesday's game, and then that great 7th inning last night. No one warming for the Red Sox in their bullpen. So Pedro will pitch the bottom of the 7th. The 1-2 to Damon. Skips rope to get out of the way. They just announced the crowd here at the stadium, 55,265. And it is the 13th sellout of the year for the Yankees. Two-two. They'll play in front of 3 more sellout crowds this weekend at Shea Stadium, starting tomorrow night. Two-two. Got him. Damon could not get out of the way, so as he hit by a pitch, and that'll bring up Mark Bellhorn.
Well, that's one of the things they had hoped by opening up that motion that they could keep Heredia from doing. Ball comes out early. And of course now Damon, the Red Sox don't steal off him, but he would, in a tie game right here, he would certainly be a threat to take off. Pitcher, left-hand pitcher has the advantage. You're looking right at the runner, and you see where Johnny Damon's lead is almost where that cutout, where that little semicircle cutout is. If he starts getting beyond that, that's a base stealer's lead. Now, right now, he's just got a comfortable lead. He doesn't even have to dive back. So what Damon's doing, he's reading Heredia's motion. See if he can time that, and then he'll cheat and maybe get an extra step or two.
Anytime you get back as easily as Damon is getting back, you can get another half a step, maybe even one more step.
%78 stolen base success rate, 252 stolen bases, caught 70 times. Bellhorn with a fly ball to right center. Kenny Lofton is there, and he will put it away for the final out of the inning. But the Red Sox tie the score. They score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. Brad Halsey pitched well. He will not get a win at the end of 6.5 innings of play. Get up and stretch. Red Sox and the Yankees are tied at 3. While you're standing, remain there and honor America and listen to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Mr. Bob Sheffield.
As we remember the servicemen and women who are stationed around the globe. And please also remember all of those who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. And now, please join Kate Smith as she sings God Bless America.
Thank you, Fred. Here at Yankee Stadium, bottom of the 7th inning, the Yankees and the Red Sox are now tied at 3. So the Yankees led 3-0. And now the Red Sox have come back. It is 3-3, and the Yankees have to reach back to the Bambino against Pedro Martinez, Williams, Posada, and Tony Clark. Yankees 3 hits, 2 of them home runs. A 2-run shot by Clark, a solo shot by Posada. Right back to Pedro. Took a hit away from Bernie. 1 away. 1 pitch, 1 down.
And that 1 pitch, 1 out is important for Pedro and the Red Sox. He has no complete games. He's gone 8 innings once, but they normally keep him around 115 pitches. That was his 95th. So at this rate, he can take him a little deeper into the game than he normally does.
Red Sox a little bit short-handed in their bullpen. Scott Williamson, who pitched last time, had to come out of the game. Is not available tonight because of something wrong with the elbow. Stiffness.
Posada has scored 2 runs. He's walked and homered. And they have to be sweet runs to score him against Pedro Martinez. He has struggled so mightily against Pedro throughout his career. 61 strikes out of 97 pitches for Pedro Martinez.
Boy, has that changed. You mentioned Posada. I mean, he's pitching. Talk about the curse of the Bambino. He's pitching Posada like he's Babe Ruth. I mean, he's had all that success against Jorge. Walked him, then went to 3-2.
How about that? And the photo, or the artist Bill Gallo cartoon, Babe Ruth today in the Daily News. Does it work today? It's nice that you can hang the picture of the guy who built the house in the house.
Next to Grady Little.
Tony Clark drives one the other way, but it slices foul into the seats. In the second inning, Clark went yard. Into the bleachers, his 6th home run of the year, a 2-run shot. He has filled in more than admirably for Jason Giambi. Hey, if you missed the pregame show, Giambi's been out with a virus which has been made worse by having a parasite. And now it was revealed today that Kevin Brown was tested and also has a parasite, and that's why he has felt weak, but he said he's close to getting over it, and it should not affect him coming back. Fouled straight back here.
Wow. I say wow because, I mean, Tony Clark was so on that ball. Very seldom do we get a foul ball over our booth in the upper deck. And I mean, that's what a good fastball that Pedro's got, and it's also the kind of bat speed. I mean, that pitch is upstairs. Tony almost caught up with it.
We've seen these Red Sox catchers when they want a ball up in the strike zone, they stand up. Mirabelli did that last time against Sheffield 2 or 3 times.
Pedro not happy with that call. He wanted that strike from Jim Wolf, the home plate ump.
Well, Veritek was setting up outside the strike zone. You're not going to get that.
And Clark goes down on strikes, 2 away. The 8th strikeout for Pedro.
Fastballs and then that changeup, that devastating changeup that Pedro has. The same arm motion, that's what really sets that pitch up. The same arm motion, same release point as the fastball. It's hard to adjust to it.
And the pitch to Wilson is a strike. Enrique is 0 for 2 tonight, grounded to first and fly to left. And a count 1-1. Wilson 10 for 24 lifetime against Martinez. And the count 1-2. Tim Wakefield started last night, pitched very well. Turned the lead over to the bullpen. They could not hold on. Broken bat, line drive, base hit to right center field. Posada will stop at second. Bellhorn lost his glove diving for the ball, and Enrique Wilson lost a bat.
He'll give up that bat for a hit. He hasn't had many lately, Bobby.
Sally went after Enrique Wilson. Wilson has had tremendous success against one of the great pitchers of all times, and yeah, you'll give up any broken bat for a base hit. It almost looked like Bellhorn was throwing his glove at the baseball. I don't think he was. It just kind of came off his hand. It appeared to be that way, but Posada decided with a couple of men out to stop at second base. Enrique continues that career average against Pedro. And he's been in a slump.
Amazing.
Hadn't played in 3 days.
Before that, he has 1 for his last 19. Here's Kenny Lofton. This is the Yankees' first at-bat of the night with a runner in scoring position.
And it's one of their slower runners, and it's important right here with the Red Sox outfield playing rather shallow. Jorge has to get a couple extra steps off second base, scoring a base hit.
He's not going to have to worry about that. A fly ball to left, and Manny Ramirez puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the 8th inning. Yankees 3 and the Red Sox 3 right here on Yes. Let's take a look at the Red Sox in-game box score, which is sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. The Red Sox have 6 hits. David Ortiz has 2 doubles. Manny Ramirez, a big blow, a 2-run home run. Dave McCarty had a double. Kevin Youkilis walked and also had a hit as well. Looks like Pedro Martinez's day is done. He will sit from the bench and hope that his team can get him a run right here so he can get a victory. Looks like the Red Sox will go to the bullpen in the bottom of the 8th no matter what. Heredia will deal to Ortiz. High fly ball, deep right field. Sheffield back on the track. Now reaches over, makes the play. I don't know if he misjudged that or the wind took the ball, but he thought it was gone and then started running back toward the infield.
As high as this ball was hit, you need some night goggles out there. I mean, this had some height to it. He took his eye off the ball, thinking he was going back to the wall, and then all of a sudden he's got to make that reverse diving catch for it. Yeah, he misjudged it a little bit based on that reaction there. There's not a whole lot of wind. I don't think the wind had any effect to it, but if there is any wind at all with the height of that ball there, sure the wind would have some effect to it. I think Heredia thought when that ball left the bat, it was out of here.
Pedro was hoping it was out, but then he watched the catch and somewhat disappointed. Well, Heredia's night is done. Joe Torre will signal to the bullpen, and he calls on Tom Gordon. It'll be Gordon against Ramirez. Pretty good matchup right there. You want to stay right there as well. Manny Ramirez with 1 out will face Tom Gordon, and let's take a closer look at what he did in the 6th inning.
Manny Ramirez home run, a 2-run shot over the center field wall. That brought the Red Sox within 1.
Closer look replay brought to you by Samsung. So now he stands at home plate as the go-ahead run against Tom Gordon, Yankees' 4th pitcher of the night. Gordon's numbers are outstanding. Pitch is high.
Saw that scene in the Red Sox dugout where they apparently shook hands with Pedro and said nice job. At least I saw Dave Wallace, pitching coach, do that. And Terry Francona has his closer, Keith Folk, warming up in the bullpen, which you seldom see a closer come in to a tie game, particularly in the 8th inning. So that's how badly he wants this game.
Strike on the outside corner, the count 1-1.
I asked Francona before today's ball game. I said, well, you know, I know it's a big ball game, but how big a ball game is it to you and your ball club? He said, well, we're not out of it if we lose, but if we lose this game with Pedro out on the mound tonight, he said that will be devastating mentally to this club.
Driven the other way and foul. They have to look at games with Pedro and Schilling almost as guaranteed win nights, and if they don't win those games, they are demoralizing.
Well, they're 18-7 between them, those two. They're 12 games over 500 when those two guys start. The rest of the time they're about 3 or 4 under.
They played 3 games under 500 in the month of June, and they were playing some sloppy baseball and making a lot of errors.
1-2. He struck him out.
Manny Ramirez not going to get a breaking ball in the strike zone to hit from Tom Gordon. That's a little slider on the outside corner. And then once he gets ahead, Manny's such a good two-strike breaking ball hitter. Blows it right by him.
Varitek swings and misses. Crowd getting loud.
Varitek, of course, batting fifth in the lineup tonight. Garcia Parra not playing because of the soreness of the Achilles. But I don't know of a one ball club that has a 3, 4, and 5 hitter in their lineup like the Boston Red Sox do with Ortiz.
Nice little nifty catch by A-Rod. Got his glove in way of the hot shot liner, popped it straight up in the air, kept his composure, and a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
That great reactions by Alex Rodriguez. Used all of his height as well. Varitek hits this ball fairly crisply to left field, but Alex times it right and then has the good hand-eye coordination to grab the rebound, take a bite out of it.
I don't know what he was doing. He probably said, I'm glad I got my glove up, not my head in front of it.
Well, the Yankees are going to have to push a run across if they're going to push that broom across the series, and they'll have to do it against the Red Sox closer, Keith Falk, and he is having some season.
Those are Tom Gordon or Mariano Rivera type numbers when you add up the hits and the walks. Not even they're less than innings pitched. Good combination of power and control. Unusual motion. Throws like a catcher. Has an outstanding palm ball changeup.
Boy, Bobby and Kitty said it in the 7th inning or in the top of the 8th. For them to use Falk in a tie game on the road, it tells you how big this game on July 1st really is. Jeter swings and misses.
Yeah, he pitched 2 innings of a Red Sox win earlier, and that was in Boston. But that means Terry Francona knows if he's going to leave him in there, he's going to have to pitch at least 2 innings to secure a win, because the Yankees will obviously bat in the 9th.
Think about where the Red Sox were earlier in the season and how they treated the Yankees in their games and in their sweeps. And then the Yankees finally got it going with this machine that they have over here, even with Curt Schilling. And then to have the month of June like they had, to fall 7.5 games out. If they lose tonight, it's 8.5 games out. Mentally, I mean, that just drains everything out of you.
That one is popped to shallow center. Bellhorn puts it away. 1 down.
Red Sox will leave for Atlanta after tonight's game for a 3-game series down there. Baseball finishes up the interleague play this weekend, don't they?
Yep. And this is again natural rival weekend.
Yeah.
And the reason the Red Sox play Atlanta is the Braves used to be in Boston. A little bit of a stretch, but that's the way it works out. Here's Sheffield. 0-1.
Tough to time a guy like this because he was talking about the unusual motion. It's a, it's a short arm type motion. And he hides the ball from you. That's a changeup that has really complimented the fastball from Falk.
Sheffield 3 for 4 lifetime against Falk.
You like to get that arm out away from you from a hitter from the pitcher standpoint so that you can follow and track the arm and in the release point.
And that's a weak hack there by Gary Sheffield, but he foul tipped the ball. Varitek was trying to sell that he did not foul tip it, and now Terry Francona comes out and talk with Jim Wolf.
Sure didn't look like it. Sure didn't look like there was any contact, but Gary evidently sold it to Jim Wolf. There's what Bobby's talking about. That hand, it never gets below the belt. Comes out of the glove right up behind his ear, and so that the hitter never gets a very clear look at it. And then with that outstanding palm ball, that's why he's so difficult to hit.
Loops it into shallow center, and Bellhorn right there. Same spot as Jeter. 2 away. Take a look at the Yankees in-game box score, which is sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. Yankees have just 4 hits. Derek Jeter picked up a single. Jorge Posada with an upper deck home run also walked and scored. And Tony Clark with a 2-run home run into the right field bleachers. Enrique Wilson picked up a broken bat single. That's it. Yankees have 3 runs on those 4 hits. Here's Alex Rodriguez, 4 for 21 with a home run against Folk. Count 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium. Yankees 3 and the Red Sox 3. Yankees looking to sweep Boston. Boston looking to salvage the final game of the set. And there's a strike from Folk. 1-1. Along with Jim Cott and Bobby Mercer, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yes Network. You're also watching Mariano Rivera warm up. Yankees 3 and the Red Sox 3. Another strike in the count 1-2. Ground ball back to Folk, and that'll do it. So the Boston closer works a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. We go to the 9th. It's all tied up. 3-3 Yankees Red Sox. New York Yankees baseball is being brought to you in part by Jeep. Trail-rated capability only in a Jeep 4x4. By Samsung. Excellence is within everything we create. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Kevin Millar leads off against Tom Gordon. A high fly ball in deep left field. And that's a foul ball.
Well, you talk about a hitter going up there and say, I'm going to guess and I'm going to cheat from a legal standpoint. That's what Kevin Millar did. He said, I'm going to be ready for Gordon's best fastball and get the bat head out. And he did.
Millar is 2 for 9 lifetime against Gordon. Hit deep to left field, but Matsui runs it down. 1 away. Tomorrow night at 6:30 on Yes, the Yankees kick off round 2 of the Subway Series when they take on the Mets at Shea. Complete coverage begins at 6:30 with Fred Hickman and the Tri-State Quality Ford pregame. Then join Jim Cott, Bobby Mercer, and me as we call all the action beginning at 7 when the Yankees take on the Mets, only on Yes. Bobby, I know you're looking forward to going back to Shea.
Absolutely. One of my favorite places.
Here's David McCarty against Tom Gordon. Big, healthy cut, 0-1.
Always look forward to the Mets of the Yankees, though, and they hook it up. One of the great thrills of my career was being over there when the Yankees and the Mets duked it out in that Subway Series in 2000.
Yankees won that one in 5 games. The 0-1 foul back. Last weekend Subway Series, Yankees took 2 out of 3 here at Yankee Stadium. McCarty 1 for 2 with a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. The 0-2 foul back. Kevin Youkilis is on deck.
A lot of hitters, you get into these situations late in the game with the score tied. You kind of come out of your element a little bit because your thinking is, well, if I could just get that one pitch where I can hit it out of the ballpark, we would win the ball game.
That one is hit deep to center field. Lofton has room, though. Now comes in a bit. 2 down.
You get into that mindset, you go up there and you overswing it most of the time, and you get to pulling off the ball, and the ball you should have been driving someplace, you hit it off the end of the bat.
It's almost that extra inning mindset.
Yeah. They don't get paid for double time, I mean for overtime in baseball, so all those hitters that go up there late in the game with the score tied, they want to end it. Get this thing over with.
Gordon will deal to Kevin Youkilis. There's a strike.
Yeah, if he were to get on, there's no sign of Nomar stirring in the dugout. Pookie Reese on deck. We wondered whether Terry Francona could use him at least to pinch hit. Doesn't appear that way.
Line drive caught by Jeter. Yankees flashing the leather. Red Sox go down in order. 1, 2, 3. A hot shot by Youkilis, but timing is leaked perfectly. Jeter brings it down. Now we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Yankees have a chance to win it. Stay right here. Keep it here after the last out for the Nissan postgame with Fred Hickman, Joe Girardi, and Susan Waldman, featuring detailed analysis of tonight's game, interviews with players, plus scores and highlights from around baseball. The Nissan postgame immediately following the game right here on Yes. Yankee fans are hoping the postgame happens soon. Bottom of the 9th inning, Matsui will lead off against Keith Folk, and this place right now is up for grabs. Line drive, base hit to center field for Matsui.
I don't know what's more electric in sports other than the Red Sox and the Yankees rivalry. And the way the fans get into these games. Matsui with this leadoff single here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Before Matsui stepped into the batter's box, everybody, the sellout crowd here, 55,000 plus, were on their feet. They're doing it again right now, along with the biggest cheerleader on this ball club, Derek Jeter.
They're looking for Bernie to bunt. He hasn't dropped one down there, and he's not a particularly good bunter. I wonder if Joe let him try to pull a pitch.
Swinging, hitting one deep to center field. Going back is Damon. He's there, and he puts it away for the first out of the inning. 1 down.
I think it got in on him just a little bit. Fastball was just in on the hands a bit, and he wasn't able to drive it. Now,
this crowd is so loud right now.
wow, look at that Boston Red Sox fan.
Here is Posada.
Nice play by Veritek. Saved the base.
Kitty, hostile placer on the mound. Does this affect you?
Not if you're a closer like Folk. You can't let it. You're used to these situations.
Those good closers, they've got blinders on, they've got earplugs.
And short memories.
Drops a strike in there. Driven the other way, and it slices foul into the seats. Posada's had a perfect night. Walked and scored. An upper deck home run against his nemesis Pedro Martinez in the 5th, and then he walked in the 7th. Brad Halsey started for the Yankees, did himself proud. Went 5 1/3, left with a 3-2 lead. I think he just got a piece to stay alive.
He swung so hard about 3 or 4 balls came out. Once the ball started flying, or he got tied up inside and knocked the mask off of the umpire. Woof. And then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 balls fell out.
Yeah, it's got to be fun even for an umpire to work a game like this.
Two and two.
I don't think he'll start Matsui 2-2. Joe would love to see a full count right here. Then you're apt to see him start Matsui. Well, all you have to do is look at the jaw muscles on Trot Nixon and Tony Clark to figure out the tension level here.
The 2-2. Drilled to right field. That's going to be one hop up against the wall. Matsui's at third. Posada going for second. He's in there with a double. The Yankees are 90 feet away from winning the game.
Well, I can see why Pedro's walked Posada. These Red Sox are fearful of him. You can't blame him. This is how Folk went at him. Low for a ball. Good palm ball. There's one pitch in this sequence, and that's how Jorge stayed alive, and it's right here. He fought that off, just got a piece of it, laid off the high fastball. Another fastball, and then got what appeared to be a palm ball high in the strike zone. And it hopped right to Millar. If it hops over his head there, the Yankees are going to score the winning run, and Millar played it well.
The Red Sox have to bring the infield in for Tony Clark. They will intentionally walk Tony Clark to load the bases and pitch to Enrique Wilson. Will Wilson bat? The Yankees have Ruben Sierra on the bench.
I think he will. I think, Joe is a loyal guy. Enrique earned the second base job in spring training. Ruben's getting ready. Looks like he might, but I would think Enrique has a better chance to make contact than Ruben with that long swing.
I think one of the reasons if Joe does hit Ruben, probably figures that maybe Ruben has a better chance of maybe driving the ball a little bit further to score that run from third.
And it's going to be Ruben Sierra. Bubba Crosby is going to pinch run. And he is going to pinch run for Hideki Matsui. So they want to make sure they can score even on a shallow fly ball. And Bubba Crosby is very, very fast.
Speed not as much of a factor right now for Bubba is reading the situation. I mean, you've been sitting on the bench all night. All of a sudden, there's a lot of thoughts going through your mind. Bases loaded, one out. Anything on the ground, you got to go. Look out for the line drive. Know where your outfielders are playing. And Soho is relaying all that information to him right now.
Well, the Red Sox bring the outfield in as far as they can come in and make the throw home. The infield is in. So if they go for a double play, they'll go home first because obviously the game would be over if that run scores. Sierra pinch hitting for Wilson. Game is tied at 3. Bases loaded, 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees looking to sweep the Red Sox. Up and away. No place to put Ruben Sierra. There's a strike.
Well, from a hitter standpoint, that's what you've got to do at least until you get the first strike. If he's going to make a perfect pitch on you away, you just got to take it, give it to him.
Bubba Crosby is the winning run. He's at third. Bases loaded. Go 1-1. Chased a high fastball, 1-2.
Tough matchup for Ruben. He's got that long swing. Tough to catch up with the fastball, and yet, you know, in the back of your mind is that outstanding palm ball. Lefty's only hitting about $180 against Folk.
Struck him out. 2 away. And that'll leave it up to Kenny Lofton.
Kind of a fine line for a hitter when you get into these situations. You know you want to try to be patient enough to get a ball that you could drive far enough to score that run from third, yet you're so anxious up there because the adrenaline is flowing, and sometimes you come out of your own element and not swing at good pitches. That's what happened to Sierra. Get over anxious.
Here's Kenny Lofton. Infield backs up, the outfield backs up, and the pitch is low. Youkilis is in on the grass at third, guarding against a 2-out bunt. This could be redemption for Kenny Lofton for that muff out in center field. That double ended up being the tying run. That's where we are right now, 3-3, bottom of the 9th. Hit sharply to second base. Fielded there by Bellhorn. Fires low, but it's scooped up by McCarty, and we will go to extra innings. So the Yankees had a chance to win the game, but Folk wiggled out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. Bonus Cantos, extra innings coming up.